They say the truth is stranger than fiction. Well, strange things are happening in Hawkins, Indiana. Hi, I'm Gabby and welcome back to another edition of the Fragrantician, where we talk about perfumes, anything that is scent based, we are talking about it. And I talk about some perfumes that not everybody else is talking about. So, if that's you, if that is your L to your Mike, if you know what I mean, then keep on watching. So we are talking about Stranger Things and we are scenting Stranger Things. Has anybody watched Stranger Things? Well, Stranger Things is where E.T. meets the alien, meets the living dead, meets a Steven Spielberg kind of familiarity. If you are a child of the 70s or 80s, you will know what I'm talking about. Stranger Things is a TV program set in Indiana, and it is a bit of a different series. It's all about a group of teenagers, children, young adults and their families living in Hawkins, just your average small town in Indiana, but it focuses on their lives, but it focuses on the supernatural aspects. It focuses on quite dark, mysterious storylines. Now these kids, Mike, Lucas, Dustin, Will, they are a group of children that start playing Dungeons and Dragons, and soon it escalates into a real game of the supernatural, the good versus the evil. It's quite... I didn't think I would like this series. I didn't think it would be for me. And it was Richard that started watching it. It piqued my interest. It's got Winona Ryder in. We all know who Winona Ryder is. She's a famous actress who I loved in The Heathers and Girl Interrupted. And she is the mother Joyce, and she has two sons. And there is Hopper, who is the chief of police of the town. Now, I am up to series 4 now. So I've just watched the first couple of episodes of series 4. It's addictive. And amongst all of their lives, supernatural forces are set afoot, and it is just quite mind-boggling, and it makes you think about different things, about life after death, about black magic, about the dark arts. But it's quite light and playful at the same time. There's this main character who is called Al, who her real name is Jane, and she is in this institution in Hawkins, Indiana, but they're also focusing on setting demons and flayers afoot in this institute. It's quite... you have to watch it. And it's no good just watching one episode. You've got to watch about 2 or 3 episodes, and then after that you become addicted. And this L has superpowers, and it's almost a bit like Carrie, those kind of superpowers, telekinesis. And there's these doctors in it as well, and it's quite mind-boggling. So let's scent a few of these characters. Let's scent this series, because I just had to do it. And also my fellow fragrance geek on here, Veronica, says, I know you love Stranger Things as well, and it's everything about the 80s. Growing up as a kid in the 80s, it was bittersweet. There's all of these 80s references, 80s pop culture. It's set around 1983 to 87 maybe, around that kind of time, the mid-80s. And it's all, you know, the memories just flooding back. The school discos, the bullying, the judging, you know. But anyway, let's get into it. Stranger Things. The first scent I'm going to talk about, I was going to choose another scent. Well, there were two scents that came to my mind. And the initial one, to set the actual scene of the film, the whole film genre, what it's all about. It's dark and nefarious. And I thought of Aura by Mugler, but I also thought of this one. And this depicts the film completely in my eyes. It is Cabotine by Gres. And I picked this scent because it, throughout the whole series, there's this, not underworld, but there's this living in another parallel in the universe. So you're living, but something else is going on all around you. It's all like a parallel in the universe. And this scent kind of describes it to me because it's dark and nefarious, and it's, you imagine yourself being in a forest, but a dark forest, dense forest, and all of this magical happening is going on, but all of this dark, quite scary, quite nefarious. These nefarious things are just going on with all of these characters, whether it's the Flyad, whether it's the, well, I'm up to season 4 now, so it's taken on. Season 3 and season 4 are very, very dark seasons compared to season 1, which I think was a bit of a kind of, it wasn't as dark, it wasn't as frightening season 1, but from season 2 onwards it gets more darkening and it gets more frightening. And this depicts that whole era of all of the magicians and the Dungeons and Dragons and the innocence, but the deadliness of it. It lures you in and then it overtakes you, and everything is growing up all around you. All of the trees and the forestry and the grass and the shrubbery, it's all just enveloping you. And Cabotine by Gres is that scent. It is potent. Now I'm going to go on to the characters, and the first one I'm going to go on to is really the kind of like the girl who is the star of the show. They're all stars, but I'm going to go with Al, who is really called Jane in real life, who is this girl who is used as a subject, as they used to call them back in the days in the 70s and 80s, by a doctor who uses her for her powers. She then escapes and she befriends these children. But she has this innocence about her, and she has been caged, and she wants to, and she needs to be tamed. La Dompteuse Encagée by Serge Lutens. The name says it all, the lion tamer, you know, the tamer. It is sweet with the frangipani and almond, but there is slightly something also askew with her. There's something always troubling her, and she wants to be free. And I think this scent kind of depicts her, because she is so troubled, and she has all of this sweetness in her, she has all of this innocence in her, and when it's let out and when it's unleashed, her anger is through her powers of telekinesis. And this scent, it's sweet, but like all Serge Lutens fragrances, there's just something underneath that's underlying and quite look, frightening isn't the word, but just a little bit different. Completely different. Actually, I layered this with the Bath and Body Works. I'm going to do a Bath and Body Works and a layering video because Joss Jane has inspired me. Lulu as well. Lulu and Joss Jane have inspired me to do it because it's opened up a whole new world. But this on its own, the ylang ylang is bright, but this frangipani does have a little bit of darkness to it. It can be either a yellow or a white floral. It is sweet, but it's a little bit deadly. The scent, the flower itself isn't deadly, but just in this scent, there is just something a little bit deadly. And up season 4, you see this deadliness emerging with Elle. Serge Lutens, La Dompteuse, Encagée. Moving on to the next character I'm going to scent is Will, who again is this boy that is captured and is in this underworld. I can't remember the name they call it. But he is then released, but he is always troubled by this flyad, this creature from the darkness who... Hawkins is this town that is cursed, as they call it, and he has this sense of fragility about him, but he has this sense of, he has a sixth sense, it feels, and he's the younger brother of the two, and he is sweet and innocent. But at the same time, he has an understanding of people, I feel. He has a lot of social awareness about him. He's very aware of his environment. And he takes in all of the feelings, all of the emotions around him. And I'm scenting him Mists of Time by Gallagher. This has sweetness from orange, but it has this mineral note in which pulls you in, and there's this blackcurrant in there as well that is effervescent. He also has all of these memories, especially when you get up to the 3rd and the 4th season. He feels he wants to go back to a time when he was very young, playing Dungeons and Dragons, and he feels completely left out and he feels isolated. There's a part of you that wants him to really push the boundaries, and he holds back. And I feel this Mists of Time scent, it kind of, when you wear it, it pulls you back to another time. It pulls you back to a childhood. It pulls you back to another memory in time when there was some happiness and a joyous feeling about you. And it has a little bit of melancholiness in as well. And it has a feeling of nostalgia. And that's why I love this scent. And I would... Yes, Claude, yes, I know. Do you want to come up? No, he doesn't want to come up. But Mists of Time for Will, I think, is a perfect scent because it is a moment of wanting to go back, but having to accept the present and having to not look to the future too much. Mists of Time by Gallagher. On to the next character, Dustin. Dustin is a sweet little gooky, geeky guy who has these braces. His mother is funny. She has this, well, now I'm watching, she has this Siamese cat. And he is just so lovable, and nobody really takes him seriously, and he has a brilliant mind. He's very scientific, but his mind is crazy and it's full of ideas. It's just an explosion of ideas. And I went with number 29, Lush High Street, for him, because when you walk into a Lush shop, you smell everything about it. and you just want to know more, and you want to delve in. You want to know what he's thinking. He's funny, he's quirky, he has the answers to everything. And I feel 29 High Street holds the key to the answers. Looking at the ingredients here, it is, when you walk into a Lush High Street shop, let's spray this on a bit of paper, because I've just got to reacquaint myself. Yeah, it just hits you. Dustin comes running in, and he's like a little Tasmanian devil, and then he's gone, and you think, whoa, what happened there? This is Dustin. He's so cute, and I mean, they're all kind of like grown up. They're all in their upper teens. Even like, I think if you Google them, they're like 1920, some of them, and you think, wow, you know, how they can portray themselves so young in it. Well, from the first season, you see them grow up into the 4th season, and they're making another season, I think, which is coming out next year. So, yeah, 29 High Street Lush. Dustin is this gregarious, lovable little rogue. Moving on to Nancy Wheeler, my little secret crush in the series. I love her so much. She starts out as a virgin, but a virgin no more. It's taken by Steve. Oh, wicked Steve. And then she is girlfriend to Will's older brother. But she has her own mind. And then she goes on to become this junior reporter at the Hawkins Post, and at the junior reporter at the school, at the high school. And she's a bit of a Lois Lane of Hawkins, Indiana. And for her, I scented Yves Saint Laurent Rive Gauche, because it is for a woman that just does not care, pushes all the boundaries. She doesn't care what other really men think of her. She will ask the questions. She will get the answers. She is a feisty girl. She's good, but she still has femininity about her, which I love. And I think Rive Gauche, at the time, it was for women. It was marketed towards women that didn't want a man to buy them a fragrance for. They could just buy the fragrance themselves. For women that weren't fussy, as the slogan was back then. You know, it is this strong unisex scent that has, it doesn't care attitude, a fierce attitude. And Nancy Wheeler is that. She's mocked, but she doesn't care, and she proves people wrong. And her mother looks up to her as well, as I'll get onto later. But Rive Gauche, Nancy Wheeler, that Lois Lane in a bottle of Hawkins, Indiana. You go get them, girl. Moving on to Robyn, who appears in season 3 and season 4. She works in the mall as in this ice cream parlour with Steve, who took Nancy's virginity. They were boyfriend and girlfriend. So she's this 16, 17-year-old. She's meant to be, I mean, she's a lot older than that. So her parents are actually quite famous, Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. She's the daughter of them. I mean, hello, good genes whatsoever. She has this angular, bold structure about her. And she's edgy, but she's feminine but edgy. And she has a hidden sexuality about her. She's gay, but she's told Steve, but she's this edgy chick. And I went with Black Perfecto by Guerlain. This is sweet, but it's edgy, it's feisty, it's feminine, it's masculine, it's androgynous, it's leathery. I could see her just rocking a leather jacket, getting on the bike with her girlfriend. She's got this crush on this girl in the brass band, and I think, and she is just, she's very logical, thinks things through. Again, a bit like Nancy, but she's different to Nancy. Nancy has this almost delicateness about her, although she's feisty, whereas Robyn is more, she verges on a little bit more masculine than feminine, but she's just unique. She's unique, and she doesn't take any nonsense. She says it like it is. She makes bold decisions, and she's an accomplished linguist as well. And yeah, Black Perfecto, it's rose, it's leather, it's licorice, it's cherry, it's an amalgamation of all of those and more. Robyn, we salute you, and Robyn Black Perfecto by Guerlain is your scent. So finally, I'm going to move on to two adult female characters in the role. I'm going to first talk about Karen. And Karen Wheeler is Nancy's mother and Mike's mother, and she has a small girl. She's this housewife, she's this bored housewife. She has this oppressed sexuality that she wants to tap into. She is your MILF of Hawkins. She is that housewife you look at that. I mean, I think she's about, when I googled her, she's about 48 in real life. She is that 40-something housewife that all the young guys and all the young girls as well just want to be her. She's attractive, she's pretty, and she's got these 3 kids, and I feel like her life, she feels that she could have given more to society. And for that scent, for her, I'm choosing Femme by Rochas. And the reason why I've chosen this is because this is a very animalic, a very strong, distinctive scent, a very strong, distinctive floral with animalics. And it draws in all the boys and the girls because it has this, she wants to tap into that oppressed sexuality. I feel that she isn't completely fulfilled by her husband, and she needs more in her life. There's a scene where she talks to Nancy, and you can see that she wants Nancy to succeed where she feels she hasn't succeeded in life. There is a scene where she's at the pool in the summertime, and they're all poolside, and she's looking at Billy, which is Max, another character in Stranger Things, and he is the lifeguard, and she pulls down her shades, "Hello Billy," and she's all acting coy, and her body is amazing, absolutely amazing. And she eventually sets a date to go with him, but it doesn't go through. I'm not going to say why it doesn't, but she eventually holds back because she realises that her family is everything to her. Her husband is everything to her, and her children. That is her life in Hawkins. But her alter ego, if she had an alter ego, if she wanted to let herself go and just let her body surrender to gay abandon. Hey Claude. It would be Femme by Rochas. When we were watching this, Richard said to me, he said, "Oh, Karen, she reminds me, Gabby, of that friend of yours in America." And I instinctively said, "Who, you mean Veronica?" And he said, "Yes." He said, "In looks-wise. So, Veronica, You've got the body of Karen Wheeler. Darren must be lucky. Finally, we move on to Joyce. And Joyce, she was quite a hard character to scent. I have 2 scents here, really. But ultimately, I went with an old, classic, timeless scent. And that is Nina Ricci, L'air du temps. And I chose this because she plays this character called Joyce who goes through so much in the series. I think really she probably is the kind of like one of the most leading support, well, she's the leading role in the series, and ultimately, because of everything that is going on, I think secretly she wants a peaceful life, and the doves represent peace. It's symbolic. This was launched just after World War II, so it's meant to represent peace. It's meant to represent goodness. Joyce has goodness in her heart. She has this mother instinct for her 2 children, for Will and his older brother, and she goes through so much heartache, and she wants to bring everything back to peace, harmony and calm, and have everything just so she can enjoy her life with her children. And she knows that her children will not be with her all the time, and she is a fierce mama bear, and she is everything about Stranger Things that represents this goodness, this wholesomeness, this justice. And she just loves people unconditionally. And she does have a boyfriend, and it's quite tragic, and it was sad, and I feel that she needs that stability. She needs that in her life, and L'air du temps will give that to her. It gives a sense of peacefulness, stillness, and at ease with her life and her success in what she has achieved. So those were just a few characters that I scented from Stranger Things. Did you enjoy it? If so, comment down below. But until the next time you've been watching another edition of The Fragrantician, go and watch Stranger Things. You'll thank me later. This is from somebody that doesn't watch anything like that, really. I love supernatural horror, but this is like supernatural horror, science fiction, tear-jerking, romance, life, drama, a cursed town. It's everything and more. So until next time, go and play with those Dungeons and Dragons, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.